Hello, families of Upper Marlboro. It's me, Melvin Yates, your neighborhood real estate broker with EXIT Flagship Realty with offices right here in Upper Marlboro. Now today, during this Upper Marlboro real estate market memo, I'll be sharing with you the 5 things you need to know about the real estate market in Upper Marlboro 20772 and 20774. Plus, I'll give you some national data that's driving our local market. Now, my office has over 160 dynamic agents serving clients like you in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and we would love to help you put a real estate game plan in place. Now, over the last 12 months, the average sales price in Upper Marlboro, Maryland has increased by 10.9% to $444,940. In 20772, the average sales price increased by 10.4% to $453,414, while in 20774, the average sales price increased by 11.8% to $433,374. Now keep in mind that there are a significant number of condos and townhouses in 20774. And if you don't have nearly the number that you might have in 20772, that's why the average may seem a little lower in 20774. Now, during the month of October, the average list price to sold price ratio was roughly 102%. This means that sellers actually received about 2% above their asking price. But when we look at the third quarter for this year in Upper Marlboro, sellers received exactly what they were asking. So this is a sign that things may be getting a little bit more competitive. Now, the average days on market for a home sold in Upper Marlboro during October was 18 days, which is right on par with the county average. Now, keep in mind that this is only for homes that ultimately sold, not homes that never sold. Now, during the month of October, we had 199 new homes come to market. That means that 199 home sellers decided to list their home for sale. But we still have less than 1 month of inventory in Upper Marlboro, which means that we can't really keep up with the demand. So sellers, this is a great time to consider maximizing your return. Now, as far as home sellers who accepted an offer in the month of October, otherwise known as pending, there were 193 homes that went pending in October. That represents 97% of the 199 homes that were even listed for sale that month, which further demonstrates my point about the demand in Upper Marlboro being higher than normal. Now, there were 175 homes that sold in the month of October in all of Upper Marlboro. That's actually up 7.4% over last month and 3.6% over last year this time. The year-to-date sold homes in Upper Marlboro, January through October of this year, is 1,544 homes. This is an 11% increase over the year-to-date for the same period last year. More homes are selling, but it's still not enough to keep up with the buyers who want to buy in Upper Marlboro. So as we're seeing all this increase in sales and appreciation, let's take a quick peek at the 2022 housing projection from a national level. Now, I think we really have to start with a conversation on mortgage rates. So let's dive right in and look at this quote from Doug Duncan at Fannie Mae. It says, "Right now, we forecast mortgage rates to average 3.3% in 2022, which, though slightly higher than 2020 and 2021, by historical standards remains extremely low and supportive of mortgage demand and affordability." So what does that mean? Well, just like most of the other experts are projecting, we're seeing a projection for increasing mortgage rates. We've seen that even over the past few weeks as mortgage rates on average ticked up above 3%. So as mortgage rates rise, it will cost more to purchase a home, and that's exactly what we've been talking about with home affordability. Mortgage rates, prices, and wages are the 3 levers for affordability. So if mortgage rates are projected to rise, it will cost more. But the great context here, and that I love about this quote, is the piece about the historical standards. If mortgage rates are ticking up a little bit, it will cost a little more, but they will remain historically low based on projections. And that will support affordability. So that's not only great news for sellers, it's great news for buyers. However, if you are a buyer in this market, you need to understand that you should purchase before mortgage rates rise even higher. So let's take a look at what the mortgage rate data looks like. Now, this is data from Freddie Mac, and it's average mortgage rates going all the way back to 2018. Now, what you can see here is that the mortgage rates were roughly, just under 5% in 2018, and they've dropped pretty significantly since then. Now, we hit the all-time low at the end of last year, early this year, and then they started to tick up again. So what people want to know is, where are they headed? Similarly, As we saw in the quote before, you can see Freddie Mac is saying mortgage rates are projected to rise as well, roughly 3.6% by this time next year. And as we average out all of the projections that we're looking at, from the major players, we see roughly 3.5% mortgage rates next year, again, by this time next year. So as mortgage rates gets higher, it becomes more expensive to purchase a home, and that's what we want to help homeowners understand. If they're thinking of waiting a year or 2 years, maybe 3, if they're ready to buy now, buying before mortgage rates rise is mission critical to that affordability lens. Now, what we also know is that mortgage rates aren't the only thing that are going to rise in the coming year. Home prices are forecasted to appreciate as well. So what you're looking at here is the home price ratio, or rather home price forecast for 2022. And as we look at it, 6 or so major players that we follow, industry experts, they're averaging out to about 5.1% appreciation next year. Now, what does that mean? Well, we've seen and we've talked about over the past year, home prices have appreciated at record-breaking levels, 18, 19, almost 20% appreciation in some parts of the country. So next year, the forecast is showing continued appreciation, but at a slower or more moderate rate. And you've heard us use the term deceleration. And that's really important to be able to communicate, is that home prices are expected to continue rising, but at that decelerated rate, which means slower or more moderate. So definitely not projecting a decline in prices, but a slower rate of appreciation. So what does that mean? That means that it's going to get more expensive to purchase a home, and we want buyers to be able to purchase before home prices rise, but what are they projected to continue appreciating? Or why? That's because inventory is still a big challenge. It's still a major question as we look at, the supply and demand conversation, that we've had over and over again. Supply is low, demand is high, and that's going to naturally make prices rise. And so what we see in that inventory situation is that it won't be solved overnight. We still have an inventory challenge next year, but we'll likely have some softening because builders are coming back strong, they're building more homes, and we anticipate more sellers to feel less pressure coming out of the pandemic and may be more interested in selling their homes. So going back into the market if they've held off for some reason. Now, there's a variety of factors that as more homes come to the market, home price appreciation will ease a bit, but continue to rise because the inventory situation certainly hasn't been fixed and won't get fixed overnight. Now, what does that mean for buyers? Of course, buy before prices and mortgage rates rise to maintain that affordability, but what does it mean for sellers? It means that home equity will continue rising, and that's a huge factor. Now, we've talked about record-breaking equity over the past year as well, and equity will continue rising as the home prices rise. So what do we want to make sure that homeowners know is that if they're thinking about making a move 2 or 3 years down the road, maybe even sometime next year, doing that before prices rise will help them leverage that equity, making that move up or that downsize, whatever it is they're looking for, while they can still lock in that low rate and take advantage of the current home price appreciation. So equity can really drive that for homeowners. I think as we go into next year with prices rising, interest rates rising, it's going to cost more. We need to start talking about the non-financial benefits of homeownership. I want to talk about that for just a couple of minutes and give you the latest information of what's happening in that area, because I think we're seeing a different trend than what we saw previously in this country. And I do want to highlight that for you, but I want to start here. Don Layton from Harvard University says, homeownership is regarded as causing an improvement in the quality of life of a typical family. It is the most common method for such a family to build wealth. That can be used for retirement, other needs, including helping the next generation. It goes on to say, such wealth creation therefore provides a major social as well as economic benefit. Now, we've been talking a lot over the last year about the economic benefits with rising prices, equity rising across the country. But let's start to talk about the non-financial benefit and what that's looked like coming, over the last year and a half across this country. Unison just did a report on the state of the American homeowner. The 2021 State of the American Homeowner said this: 64% of American homeowners say living through a pandemic has made their home more important to them than ever. Now, no doubt all of us could probably say on some level that that's been true. It's been true for me as well. I've worked at home at times. I've had to teach my kids at times from home, worked at home. I've had them work at home. I've had to entertain myself. You know, the list goes on and on. But it becomes more important. You know, 83% of homeowners say their home has kept them safe during the pandemic. No doubt homes have taken on a new meaning for folks. 91% of homeowners say they feel secure or stable or successful owning a home. Now, home sellers, you have an incredible market with prices that have never been higher and motivated, serious buyers out there. However, there's one thing to consider. People are starting to realize that they can choose from more options now than ever before, and that's just normalizing of the market, which sounds good to me. So if you're a home seller, you may be thinking it's time to be a buyer yourself and take advantage of the opportunity to move up, move down, or maybe move away. Home buyers will continue to see more options, and with more options comes more opportunity. Interest rates are at historically low levels, and history would tell us that at this time next year, real estate will not only be more expensive, but so will mortgage rates. So if you've been thinking about buying or selling real estate, we would love to sit down with you and create a real estate game plan to navigate the challenges and opportunities that we're finding in today's real estate climate. You can schedule a confidential meeting with my team or myself using the link. You can also text or call me directly or send me an email to melvin@exitflagship.com. I'll see you again soon.